Welcome back to part 2 of the leaderboard simulator coding ASMR video. So today I have my partially completed leaderboard simulator game. It's not really a game, but it's a simulator. This video will have chapters in which you can navigate on which part I am doing, as well as that I will be posting the paste bin source code in the description box below. So yeah, without further ado, let's begin. Oh yeah, so before I start, here's some random gameplay footage.
Out of charges.
Spike down A.
Okay, hope you enjoyed it, so let's begin. So let's do the recap. So what a player does, for the player's class, you have 3 attributes: the kills, the deaths, the assists, and the name so far. And we have like a KDA value, which is supposed to be non-visible. This is a value, a double value, in which I will use to sort the array, to sort the leaderboard, where the player with the highest KDA becomes the top of the leaderboard, like the best player, most valuable player, MVP, and the one who's doing the worst of all goes at the bottom. So I've got like my constructor that I will create my player object, which sets the name based on that input and sets everything to 0. And previously I've used the constructor here that has predetermined kills and deaths and assists. So I've been using that for part 1. In part 2, I'll just make empty values, in which I will just make it a real kind of simulator, because this one is only for testing. And yeah, I've got my set methods: add kill, which gives a player a kill; dies, the player dies; and yeah, this assists, yeah, plus, and calculate KDA ratio, blah blah blah, and yeah, calculates death ratio and prints the player. And yeah, now what I'm gonna do is that I will create a method that sorts the leaderboard, so that the first one the one with the highest KD goes in the top, and the lowest one goes in the bottom. So let's begin. I'm doing this very step. So now I'm going to turn this into an array. Okay, so I kind of forgot that there were individual variables before, and now I just have to put them in an array and create new variable player objects and put them in the array of 5 players, so that I'm going to sort them by ranking them in an array of players, and that will become the leaderboard. So yeah, so let's do this sorting method, shall we? Okay, sort the leaderboard so that the one with the highest KD ratio goes to the top. All right, so let's do this method. Public static to public method, array sort rank leaderboard, and this method just sorts them. So yeah, players, and return type is void. So yeah, in this method I'll have to loop this array, I guess. I guess I have to do 2 loops. One outer loop so that it sorts it. 1 outer loop, so each pass of the outer loop is a sorting pass, and the inner loop is finding which one has the highest. Alright, so yeah, let's do the outer loop. And I equals 0, I guess. I is less than players. Yeah, let's do this. Input an array of players. Yeah, like that. But length. And every time you increment I by 1, yeah, so in this outer loop I will do another inner loop which does 1 pass of sort. So each pass of sort inner for loop to search for the min value. Alright, which is at the max value, which is the KDA. Alright, so let's do this. For int j equals I, we start at I, and then j is less than players dot length, and then j plus plus. We start at I because the left part of the sorting method of this array of players will become more or less sorted, I guess. In this each iteration of the inner for loop I see, I'll have to check. I'll have to look for the lowest, the highest KDA. So double, it's gonna be double value, max ratio, max KDA ratio. Set it to 0. Oops, I forgot to. Something kind of fell, so I had to get it. And yeah, I'm going to now try to find. Maybe you have to put it here. You have to put it in the outer loop, so we keep track. And once the inner for loop, we find the highest. Okay, so I'm not going to do another for loop. I'm going to now run again. What is it? No, not run again. I'm going to do an if statement. If players dot j dot get KDA. I think there's I put a I have to, yeah, I have to also do, I have to get a add a get method here to get the KDA ratio. Get method. Yeah. Which will return a double. Get ratio. Which will just return this dot KDA value, which is this one. All right. Yeah, get ratio, not get class. Get ratio. Is greater than max ratio. I will then have to set max ratio equal to players J get ratio. All right. And I'll have to also find the lowest index. So also do a int lowest index equals 0. That way we can find, get the player in that position, in that index that has the max, that one that has the max ratio. All right. Set that to J, which is, in that case, if it has the highest ratio, better ratio that's greater, it'll just set that to J, which is that index. And after this inner for loop, once we exit, I'll have to, I guess, swap the players. So let's try that. I have to do like another method that swaps it, so let's try that out. So I'm gonna do a swapping method, which will do, it's a private, it's a helper method, so it's a private. Private void swap players, because they're player objects. Input an array of players. Position int position 1, int position 2. Hold on. Static method here. Valid type. For for the variable rankLeaderboard. It's a method here. Oh yeah, I know why. Once again, this method here is inside the main method. I keep doing this. Okay, so I had a serious problem with the indentation and now I've fixed it, so I came back. So yeah, it's back to normal. I had quite a bit of problems, so now it's fixed. So before we continue, here's another random footage of gameplay.
Scanning ahead.
Okay, I hope you enjoyed your little break, and I am going to continue. So to recap, I write this helper method, and this method, all it does, it swaps a player's positions based on position 1 and position 2. And so yeah, so I'm going to do a temporary value to hold a player object. So players temporary object, temp variable to store old first value, old position 1 value, players position 1, and players position 1, it will become the player at position 2, so it switches, and then players position 2 will become temp, which is the stored player object. So let's try to run it. Before we begin running it, I'm going to just try to find if is there anything that I've overlooked. Okay. Oh yeah, I am going at the end of the for loop, of the inner for loop, which is here. We're still in this outer for loop. Once it finds the player with the lowest, the minimum, I don't know why it's lowest, it should be highest index. It should be highest index, because we're looking for the max. We do a descending sort. Highest goes first and the lowest goes last. Because we're talking KDA, we want to rank the player with the highest KDA first, and then the one with the lowest at the bottom, like the bottom frag. So and I'm gonna call swapPlayers. It's a private method, but we're calling it in the same class. It's players, which position 1 is we want to swap I. Remember, we start I because that's the one here where we want to swap, and lowest index, highest index, I mean. And this highest index is like the index which has the player with the highest KDA. Alright, I'm going to try to run this. I can't guarantee that it will run an error. It would work. I'm pretty sure it's going to cause an error, so Okay, so I didn't even call my method. I should rank the leaderboard. What I'm gonna do is print this first and then print another rank leaderboard players. This will rank it up. Ranked. Print some things so that I know which one is not ranked, and the one I know for sure that there's the first set of printing is unranked and the one after is ranked after I call that. So let's run it. Okay, so it pretty means I have managed to kind of sort them out. So as you can see, Sova and Phoenix have mixed KDA ratios. You can't see it here. Oh, you can see it, but you're not supposed to see the KDA, in which I'll do in another part. KDA values are not sorted because in Sova should have been fallen second because Phoenix has the highest KDA. He is dominating, so he should be in the top. And likewise, Sage is ranked higher than Breach because Sage has a KDA of 0.5. She should be put last. But then, for the ranked, Phoenix is ranked first, Sova is ranked second, Astra is ranked third, Breach is ranked fourth, and Sage is ranked fifth. Okay, so now I believe that I have accomplished this part of the program which sorts the leaderboard. This right here is accomplished. And then the last one here just basically acts as a helper method just to swap the players, which switch the positions. And yeah. Okay, so I have one more thing to do, which is simulate a match that players get kills or die and update the leaderboard after every round in this simulator. So I hope you cannot wait for me to do this, because I'm going to kind of end this video right now. This video is kind of becoming too long, so yeah. In the next video, I'm going to finish up this simulator, which will kind of simulate a real game where the players will start with all zeros, no kills, no deaths, no assists, and then add rounds. As the rounds go through, the players will simulate that players will get kills, they would die after a shot, and then rank the leaderboard every time. So in the first round, the players have a chance to do well, and then subsequently, players could just fall down to the leaderboard. It's pretty kind of dynamic-ish for a simulator, and yeah. So that will be part 3, which will be coming out maybe in a few videos or maybe in the next video. Alright, so stay tuned for that, and yeah, peace out.